888-775-3773. Let me go to Canada and talk to a first-time caller. Nush? Nush.
Hey, Jesse, how's it going?
All this well, Nush. Welcome to... It is Nush, right?
Yeah, that's right, sir.
Okay.
Good to meet you.
You too.
And, yeah, ever since I started listening to you, man, like, it changed my life completely. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not someone who, you just hear there's a lot of people on the internet and around, talking about different ways to live life and how to think. And I'm not someone who easily, buys into stuff. But we had this, I was in this fallen state of being obsessed with my identity. I used to be a really high-performing entrepreneur, and the business was doing really well. And then I made some investments that didn't go too well in a new business. And so my identity of being the entrepreneur was torturing me, and I always had these thoughts and emotions and putting too much pressure on myself and then not even enjoying the work. But yeah, ever since I started listening to you, I actually feel one with the Father, and I forgave my mother and sort of shed that fallen nature. So I have like two questions for you today. I'll make them really quick. The first one is, when you let go of thoughts and identity and emotions and you don't need anything from anyone, you're sort of free and you feel close to Christ. But when you don't need anything from anyone, there's a risk. Like, you have this risk where you might be too passive, right? And then people feel like maybe they could walk all over you. So how do you get what you want out of the people around you so you don't come across as a beta, but at the same time you don't need anything from them?
And your question about that is what?
Is how do you balance not needing anything from people when you internally don't need anything from anyone?
Right.
There's a risk that maybe you come across as a bit too passive.
Oh, I see.
And
can you hold for me?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Hold on for me. I got to take a quick break. Amazing. I want to go back to Canada and speak with Kush. Nush, not Kush, but Nush out of Canada, first time caller. So, Nush, restate your question for me.
Absolutely. So the question was, when you learn to let go of needing things from people, when you're letting go of your identity and your thoughts and your emotions, you end up also not needing things from people. How do you balance that so that you don't come across as passive and you actually get treated well by people and you get what you want out of your relationships, whether it's with your girlfriend or wife or it's work? How do you balance not needing anything spiritually, internally, with actually not being a beta and not coming across as passive?
And who is coming across as passive?
Well, it's just that if you sort of have perfect peace and you don't need anything, you may not even sort of make any of your needs heard ever, or you may just seem so peaceful that people feel like you come across as passive, or you just don't end up getting treated right, or you don't get what you want out of your relationships or your work.
And how would you know that that's what people would be thinking?
If like, let's say your spouse doesn't treat you right at home, she doesn't cook ever, she's sort of like a manly woman, and let's say as an example, you're trying to make your needs heard, that sort of thing.
But why would you have a wife like that? Why won't you get rid of her? What's the purpose to have a wife that won't cook and clean and wash your clothes and iron and sew and all? Why would you be with a person like that?
That's true.
No, that
I
was
don't
a question.
To be with a person
that wasn't
like
true. That was a question.
Yeah. No, I totally get what you're saying. That you would, if you're not a beta, you wouldn't even pick like that. You wouldn't pick anyone like that from the get-go. But people let you down. Sometimes your siblings let you down. People in your life let you down.
Give me an example how someone can let you down.
Let's say right now I'm visiting my family in the city that they live in after about 3 years of not seeing them. And my brothers really haven't paid that much attention to me. They haven't reached out. They don't seem to want to do stuff too much. But I'm at perfect peace. So this time I'm like laughing about it. Like, it's like it doesn't bother me at all. And I'm just, I'm having a really great time here. And so stuff like that, right? It's like perfect peace. is where I'm at right now, and so it's just like I don't even relate to, the past me would have been all up in arms about that and been like, what, like how would they, how could they even do that, like how could they treat me like that? But now it's just like I'm having a great time and I'm chilling and I just feel like closer to God than ever. So it's like stuff like that, right? Like
But
there
if
could
you're
be
having
a point where you're like,
if you have an amazing
yeah, go ahead.
time and you are close to God, why would you even think about them not showing up? Why would that even be a part of your thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
No,
mean,
that was a question.
it wouldn't be right, but
But you are
it,
thinking about that.
yeah, I'm aware. It's in my awareness, like externally, but it's not affecting my internal state, right?
Why is
And
it
that's
in
where
your
the growth has
awareness
been.
at all?
Because it's happening, right? It's like it's
Do you
literally
want to
happening, so
see
I can
them?
tell. Yeah, to some extent, yeah, I do want to spend more time. Like, obviously, I'm just like, yeah,
So
I'm just
that's
sort of
why
seeing
it's in
their
your
response.
awareness because you want to spend more time with them, right?
Right. So how do you make your
So
needs
why don't
known?
you
Like, how do
go?
you
Why don't
balance
you
that?
just go visit with them?
Yeah, you could, right? Like,
No, that was a
that's
question.
it.
No, come back. Why don't you just go and visit with them?
Yeah, I will be doing that. Yeah, absolutely.
No,
Like, I will
why
be
don't
doing
you
that.
just go and visit with them?
Because like I just came a few days ago. I'm still settling in, so I'm going to be doing that. But I'm also observing how they're reacting, right? But it's just an example. But like generally speaking,
But
how
why
do
are you
you?
even thinking about how they're reacting, acting at all? If you want to see them, why don't you just go and see them? There's nothing to think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
No, that was a question.
yeah. No, you're right. Like,
But you're not
I
answering
sorry.
my
Could you restate the
question.
question? Yeah, could you restate the
Why
question?
don't you, instead of thinking, oh, they won't come see me, I want to see them, they're not coming to see me. If you want to go
Mm-hmm.
see, if you want to see them, why don't you just go see them or invite them to lunch or something?
Yeah, that's
No,
probably
no,
because of my fallen nature.
right.
Yeah, that's a solid point,
And so you don't
and
have
that makes me
perfect
think.
peace because if you have perfect peace,
Right,
you will want for nothing.
right, right.
So why do you
So
say you have perfect peace when you don't have it?
that's true.
No,
I
there was
should be
another
more
question.
accurate, right?
Why do
Yeah,
you say
no,
you have perfect peace when you don't have it?
because I'm not speaking as precisely. I was speaking in sound bites, but I'm not. I don't believe I'm 100% there. I believe I'm like probably a lot closer than I used to be. Probably like 80% there, but I'm always learning, right? And I'm always trying to grow into that. But like compared to where I was, it feels like a world difference, which is
Right.
why
I
in
understand that.
comparison to that, it does feel that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, have you forgiven your mother?
Yes, I actually got really lucky with that because one day she called me and she basically had a conversation with my sister and she came up to me and said, "Hey, she made me realize all this stuff and I forgive you." So like she started the conversation, and then I told her that in my head I'd already forgiven you, and then we had a whole conversation where I was like, "No, I forgive you. It's all good." So I got really lucky with that one where it was a miracle, and she's not the type of person. There's a lot of hell in her, so that was a miracle. Like she's not the type of person. All my whole life has been that self-aware or forget or like takes responsibility for her actions. Like most women.
Have you told your mother you were sorry for resenting her for what she done to you?
I told her I forgive her. That's it. And I told her I've already forgiven her, so it's all good. And she was feeling remorseful, and I told her that my brother is really a beta because he is extremely identified
Who?
with the mother.
Who?
And my oldest brother, I'm the
Oh,
youngest, so
oh,
my
okay.
oldest brother, yeah, he's like, and I've tried to help him a billion times get out of his hell, but he's like super identified with my mother, and he's like very like I can just see from the outside. I have empathy for him because he's my brother, and I told her that you have made him that way, like you made him in your image, and you need to have this talk with him, and you need to tell him that like he's 37 now, and he's getting old, and so I made her realize that as well, and so it was a beautiful thing, man. And it was crazy,
Nush,
man.
have you forgiven your mother for what she's done to you?
Yes, sir,
And
absolutely.
did you tell her?
Yes. So this was the conversation that we had.
Didn't you say your
It
mother
was all
told
about
you
that.
she forgive you?
No. She reached out to me and she said she was basically remorseful, right? And she was saying that she was sorry. And so it made it super easy for me to acknowledge that, yeah, in my heart, in my head, I've already forgiven you, and I'm glad that you're realizing all this stuff.
So you told
So
her
she started
that?
the conversation.
Did you tell
Yeah,
her that?
I did.
That in your heart
Yes,
you had
sir.
already forgiven her?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And what did your father say when you forgave him for not protecting you from her?
Yeah, I haven't done that half yet, which is
Why not?
My father was a little bit like emotionally detached. Like he's always been he just went to work, and then after work he didn't really talk much. He didn't want to give us his troubles, and he didn't ever share his stories and his emotions with us. And so it's sort of like somewhat of a awkward relation. Like we care for each other a lot. There's nothing negative, but it's like a bit of an awkward relationship, and so we don't really talk about feelings and that sort of thing.
Why haven't you gone
that's
to
just
your
that bad.
father and said to him, I'm sorry for resenting you, for not protecting me from my mother? Why haven't you done that?
Yeah, that one I have to do. You're right. I need.
Why?
There's no good reason.
That was a question. Why haven't you done
Mm-hmm.
that?
I just, the mother thing really changed so much for me that I hadn't gotten to that yet. But I'm
Why
I'm
not?
going to do that, Jesse.
Why have you done it already?
Because the mother thing just happened like a month ago. So, got some breathing room, and now I think I'm ready to do the other half. But yeah,
Why haven't you gone to
talk.
your father and forgiven him for not protecting you from her?
I have no. I'm going to do it. I have no good reason to tell you. I'm going to do it.
And what gives you the right to feel anything for your brother at all?
What gives me the right to feel any type of way to my brother?
Yeah, you said you tried to save him from his hell. How can you save your brother from your hell when his hell when you can't even save you from your hell?
Yep, that's absolutely true. Yep.
No, that was a question.
I can't. I don't think I can. I observe that he is in that fallen state from a distance. I'm not actively trying to say. I invite him to go to the gym, work out, be less not be in that fallen state as much. And he's just not in a place where he wants to be taken out of his hell right now. So I don't push, but I'm aware, but I don't actively try to, I don't go out of my way actively because I know I've been trying with him for years and I've given up. I've let all that go because of your teachings, right?
But you have no right. You have no right to feel sorry for people. You have no right to try to save people. You have no right to feel anything about anyone. Your mama, your daddy, your brother, your sister, your wife, your kids. You have no right to feel anything about anyone that's in their hell.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So why don't you stop playing God?
Yeah, that's true.
No, that was a question.
Why don't I stop playing God?
Yes.
Because I'm still in a fallen state, right? We don't get this stuff the stuff that you say is extremely groundbreaking, right? It's not, we don't get taught religion. When we go to church, we don't get taught how to actually know God. We don't get taught any of this stuff, right? So I'm 27 and it took me so long to really understand this message and literally physically in my body know what it's like and in my mind know what it's like to feel God. So I'm just at the beginning, to be honest, but I'm really grateful where I'm at so far. And
I do understand that. But let me ask, because of time, ask. You asked me, what do you do if someone thinks that you are being passive, right?
Right.
Okay. So in this world, we have to do business with one another. We have to go to the market. We have to buy a car. We have to buy a house. And so we got to do business with one another. But other than
Right.
that, there's nothing else that you need from anyone. And when
Mm-hmm.
you truly realize that, and you will if you stay with it, you're going to realize there is no you. And if there is no
Mm-hmm.
you, there's only this illusion of you that you have. And if there's no you, how can anyone make you feel passive at all?
Right.
That was another question.
Mm-hmm.
You-
Yeah, I don't think they can. Yeah.
So why would you think about that? Oh, because I'm not needing anyone for psychological support, they're going to think I'm passive. Why are you thinking that at all?
Because there's a fear that you're sort of perceived as someone that people could just walk all over, right? And then that could lead to real world outcomes, like in business, right? If
Not
someone
at
feels
all. If you know that there's no you, there's no one there to feel passive, no matter what someone else thinking, you would never think about that. You would still do business straight up, and whatever somebody
Mm-hmm.
else is thinking, you wouldn't even think about what someone else is thinking because you would not be into thinking. All thoughts are all
Right.
lies all the time about anything, and you would know that
Mm-hmm.
there is no one there to be passive. So that wouldn't even be on your mind.
Right. So I think what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think what you're saying is that you don't have spiritually, internally, a need for anything, but when you're doing business, for example, you let what you want go through, you express that, and then you take it as it comes, right? And you're a good businessman, you're a tough negotiator, but you don't need anything at the end of the day, right? You're not a beta either.
You don't need
Uh,
any psychological support from anyone. Meaning they don't need to love
mm-hmm.
you. They don't. You don't care. You're not concerned about what they think about you. You're not even thinking about that. You're not concerned about how they see you because you know there is no one there to be concerned about that. You're not thinking about, oh, I'm dealing with this deal in the wrong way. They're gonna think I'm passive. You're not, those
Mm-hmm.
thoughts are not yours because you know all thoughts are all lies. And so now you live without thinking. The only thing you need to think about sometime is buying food, buying a car, buying a house. But you don't,
Mm-hmm.
you live a life without thinking. When you get to a
Right.
point, and you will if you stay with it, you're going to, and I
Mm-hmm.
promise you this, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
live a no thinking life.
Mm. Yeah, that sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. Yeah, I
Amazing.
appreciate that, sir. Appreciate that very much.
So
If
from
we
now
don't have time for
on,
another question,
and so from now on, when the thought come, oh, they're gonna think of you as being passive or whatever, right? They're gonna
right,
think of
right,
me as
right.
being passive. You let that thought pass. Don't call it
Mm-hmm.
you. Don't identify with it. Let it pass,
Right.
and then it'll be taken away from you, and you will never have to think about that anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's beautiful, sir. And yeah, appreciate everything you do.
Are you doing the
And
silent
yeah,
prayer?
no, I've not. I've not started with the silent prayer yet.
What
Yeah.
a beta! But so how are you gonna be free if you don't practice staying present?
Yeah, yeah.
No,
You're
that
right.
was a question.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I think I have some type of pride where like we like to when we learn new information, we get a new way of being. Like I've been on this for maybe like a month and a half, 2 months now. We think that we have this thing where we're already there, right? But we're not, right? There's so much
Come back to
there's
your
so much
phone.
left to
Come back
do.
closer to your phone. If you think you're there, you're not there because thinking you're there is just another thought. In being
Mhm.
there, there's no thinking.
Mhm.
So do the
Yeah.
silent prayer. Start rebuildingtheman.com/prayer, right, Nick?
Yeah.
rebuildingtheman.com/silent prayer.
Silent prayer. Yep.
Start doing that.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Because you're
Yeah,
on your
for sure.
way. You're on your way. I want to
Mhm.
encourage you to just become more and more aware of those thoughts. Don't call them you. Don't identify with them at all, no matter what the thought is. Don't identify with it. You're not your thought. They're not from God. All thoughts are all lies all the time. So stop identifying with lies.
Yeah, for sure, Jesse. Thank you so much for everything, sir. Really appreciate it. And yeah, God bless you. Really love the work you're doing.
You too, buddy. You stay with it, though, all right?
Will do. Will do.
All right. Take care now.
You too.
All right.